John Ulzheimer is known as one of our nation's most recognized credit experts. Having worked for 28 years in the credit industry, John has become one of the most prolific speakers about credit and the go-to authority on answers to credit-related questions. Credit Countdown with John Ulzheimer.
Hey there, John Ulzheimer here. Today I'm going to talk about something that we've all had to go through, which is dealing with credit card issuers when our credit card account has been compromised. So in other words, we've been the victim of either called account takeover fraud, which means we have an existing account and a fraudster somehow got their hands on our card numbers and is now charging stuff on our card. That's called account takeover. There's another kind of credit card fraud, which is referred to as true name fraud. That's when someone goes out and applies for credit in your name, opens an account in your name, never had anything to do with it, and then starts to use the card, and then they defraud not only you, but they also defraud the credit card issuer by doing that. So the question that I get from consumers from time to time is, do I have to cooperate with the card issuer if I've been the victim of fraud? Either fraud. So you can throw in the account takeover scenario, you can throw in the true name fraud scenario. It really doesn't matter. Whenever people ask me that question, I almost rhetorically ask back, well, why wouldn't you cooperate with them? I mean, there's a criminal who has stolen information and has stolen money, so why wouldn't you cooperate with them? And then every once in a while I'll get kind of this snarky response, well, I had nothing to do with it, it's not my fault, let them deal with it. Kind of this, just a really bad attitude about the whole thing. All right, I get it. So some people are going to be cooperative with the card issuer in cases of fraud, and some of them are going to be jerks and are not going to be cooperative because, you know what, I think sometimes they know who the fraudster is. It's either a family member or maybe someone that they're dating and they don't want to rat them out, so they just don't want to cooperate. So the question is do you have to, of course not. You're an adult, you get to make adult decisions, and if you don't want to cooperate with a credit card issuer in cases of fraud, then there's no legal obligation and no one's going to come to your house and force you to cooperate. But let me explain the downside. One of the common requirements of credit card issuers in cases of fraud is that you fill out certain paperwork. And the paperwork, it varies by card issuer, obviously, but essentially what is common across all of these card issuers and all of this type of paperwork is the card issuer wants you to essentially declare under penalty of perjury, meaning that you're making a sworn statement, okay, which is very different than just like saying something to one of your buddies. Sworn statement means something. You can't lie if you're making a sworn statement, or you could be committing perjury, which is a felony, by the way. And essentially the statement that you're making to the card issuer is that this isn't my account, or I didn't make these charges, I did not benefit from these charges, and I don't know who is the fraudster. And so when you make that type of a declaration, then it helps the card issuer to differentiate between you, real victim, and someone who isn't really a victim, they just don't want to pay the balance on the card. So in that respect, it is a good idea to cooperate, because in scenarios like that, you're more likely to get the card issuer off your back than if you refuse to cooperate. And then if you refuse to cooperate, then really it's a matter of the card issuer. You think they're just going to take your word that you had nothing to do with it? No, it doesn't work like that. There's a process, and the process is not unusual or atypical. It's actually extremely common. It's actually in your best interest to cooperate, because then you get the information off your credit reports. You may have documentation that you can show to the credit reporting agencies indicating that the card issuer is not holding you liable for the account. And then maybe most importantly is that any charges that were made on the card issuer is A, not reporting them to the credit bureaus, and B, they're not going to hold you liable for them. And that's a good thing, because if they did hold you liable, then they could stick it on your credit report, and obviously you're not going to pay it because you didn't charge it, so why would you pay something that's fraudulent? And they're not going to come after you to collect the debt, which they may do and probably will do if you do in fact refuse to cooperate with them in cases of fraud. And look, it's a team effort, right? You've been defrauded and the card issuer has been defrauded. So it's actually a good idea to work with them, cooperate with them, fill out the requisite paperwork, and so you can get this information either corrected on your credit report, off your credit report, and you can move on with your life. So if you have any other questions about credit card fraud or anything else, drop them in the comment section. Thanks for watching. We'll talk again soon.
For more videos and credit tips from John Ulzheimer, go to www.tradelinesupply.com.